Charlie used to be one of the most played brawlers, but now she's never used. Charlie is neither a good brawler or a bad brawler. So why is her usage rate so low? Well, today we're going to be covering Charlie's history and find out exactly what caused this dramatic change. To begin with, Charlie was released on November 6, 2023 in the Circus Update. Charlie was one of the few brawlers who got hypercharged early on. Her hypercharge spawned spiders from her super. Although it was a underwhelming hypercharge, it still gave Charlie a huge advantage, since most brawlers did not have a hypercharge. In addition, Charlie was released as a chromatic brawler, so brawlers just need to make her strong for the sake of money. However, the developers went a little overboard like always. To explain this better, let's break down Charlie's initial release date. So let's start off with the attacks. Charlie has a similar attack to Carl's. They both have one ammo, and if the attack ends up with a short distance, the attack can return back quicker. The main difference is that Charlie's projectiles can't pierce through enemies, so adjusting the speed or damage of the attacks can therefore make Charlie into a killing machine. Sadly, that's exactly what the developers abused. Firstly, the delays between her attacks used to be 50% shorter. Secondly, her damage used to be 5% higher, and her range was 9 tiles instead of 8.33, so her attack was very broken. Unfortunately, they also made practically everything else very strong, especially with Charlie's super. Charlie's super has enemies creating a 3v2. Thankfully, it did have decay health, and you can use attacks to kill the cocoon. However, enemies used to be stuck in a cocoon 50% longer for 10 seconds. But what made it worse was that the super projectile speed was way faster. Alongside those benefits, Charlie has some interesting differences. Specifically, with the cocoon, damage or healing for personal space gadget happened at the end instead of the start. Also, enemies used to not keep their current ammo state before getting cocooned. Alongside that, the digestive star power paired very well with her super. Sorry, slimy star power, I don't think that slime trait was useful. Anyways, digestive star power used to reduce enemies' health by 50%, which is double the amount. This star power pretty much guarantees any brawlers to be vulnerable after the super ends. So you're pretty much screwed if you get hit. Lastly, I want to talk about Charlotte's gadgets, because they were very broken. She has two gadgets, spiders and personal space. Spiders spawn 3 spiders around her that can damage enemies, but they decay in health. These spiders used to have 36.4% more health and can last 10 seconds instead of 5. Keep in mind that these spiders are identical to the spiders that spawn with her hypercharge. This gadget was mainly used to take damage and deal extra chip damage, while personal space traps herself in the same cocoon as her super, and she also heals 50% of her health at the end. I guess it's kinda useful, but at the same time, you're removing yourself for 10 seconds. So if you had to choose between these gadgets, the choice is very obvious with the spider gadget. So Charlie was very broken, and could be argued the best brawler in her release date. With Supercell freaking out, what exactly would they do? Of course, make cool skins for Charlie's release. But what exactly? Well, welcome to your first Charlie trivia. Your first question is, when were both the Amazing Charlie and Rosy Charlie skin released? Your following choices are A. October 30, 2023, B. November 6, 2023, C. November 5, 2022, and D. November 7, 2024. Well, the answer will be revealed in the next 5 seconds. And the answer was B, since Rosy Charlie was the Brawl Pass skin. And Supercell used to also like to release a rare skin, available for everyone right away. Anyways, to be serious, what they actually did was nerf Charlie after 3 days. On November 9th, Charlie received 2 nerfs. Charlie's super duration was decreased from 10 to 7 seconds, and her digestive star power health reduction was decreased from 50% to 25%, alongside some interaction changes with enemies. Enemies now keep their ammo when entering and exiting a cocoon. Alongside that, with the cocoon now dealing damage or healing at the start instead of the end. So these are huge nerfs for Charlie's super. But you know how I mentioned how strong her main attack was at the start? Well, they left that alone, and she can still cycle that super so often. These nerfs did slightly affect her, now being one of the best brawlers in the game instead of the #1 best. So afterward, Charlie became a threat in the 2023 World Finals, leading to Supercell to cook another batch of nerfs. On December 12th, Charlie receives 5 nerfs. Firstly, her delays between attacks halved. Additionally, Charlie requires 6 hits instead of 5 for her super. The duration of her super also decreased from 7 to 5. And her super's health decreased by 36.4%. Alongside that, her hypercharge requires 2 more projectiles to charge. So no more broken chromatic, right? Well, charged mechanic were still stupidly broken. And using broken chromatic is actually the wrong term. She was also changed to a mythic rarity because of the Star Road update, later becoming available to unlock in the Star Road on January 11, 2024. So Supercell knew they needed to take action for 2024, and the changes they made were drastic. Supercell had 3 phases of attempting to shut down Charlie. Their first phase came to life on February 27. So let's start off with her 4 nerfs Charlie's got. Charlie's projectile speed was decreased by 25.4%, her hypercharge damage boost was decreased by 5%, the hypercharge speed boost was decreased by 4%, and the hypercharge shield boost was decreased by 5%. To make up that fact, Supercell boosted Charlie's hypercharge multiplier from 40% to 60%. Many brawlers like Jesse received these changes, and it significantly helped these brawlers. Unfortunately, that made Charlie even better, so phase 1 only made Charlie even more broken. But what about phase 2? Well, fast forward to April 23, Charlie received 3 nerfs. Charlie's attack range decreased to 8.33 tiles, the number of hits required to charge Charlie's super went down from 7 to 6, and she requires 11 hits instead of 10 to charge hypercharge. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough, since she's still great at shutting down brawlers. However, brawlers realized they can still make money off her skins, so that's what exactly Supercell did. But when were they released once again? Well, welcome to round 2 and actually the final round of this Charlie trivia. When were the True Silver/Gold skin and the Fire Charlie released? They both released on different days, so choose 2 answers. A. April 23, 2024. B. May 9, 2024. C. June 17, 2024. And D. March 13, 2024. Alright, time's up, and here's the answer. True Silver and Gold Charlie was released on April 23, and Fire Charlie was released on June 17. Also getting a slight remodel on October 29. But back to Supercell being serious. Phase 3 came to life on June 25, where Charlie received 3 nerfs. Firstly, Charlie's main attack decreased by 5%. Secondly, Charlie requires 11 instead of 12 for hypercharge. And lastly, Charlie's spider gadget duration was halved from 10 to 5. Fortunately, all these nerfs start snowballing on Charlie. As I mentioned at the start, Charlie gets really impacted if anything about her main attack changes, and that's the weak point Supercell attacked, since by then, many brawlers have the ability, aka hypercharge, to deal more damage, and create similar scenarios that Charlie can make even better, leading to Charlie being considered one of the worst brawlers for the rest of the year until November. So Supercell eventually realized they may have overdone the nerfs, leading to November where Charlie finally received buffs after 9 months. They buffed her damage back by 5% and decreased the hypercharge charge rate, requiring 11 hits instead of 12. Alongside those 2 buffs, in the following month Charlie receives around a 6% health buff. These 3 sets of buffs made Charlie still an underwhelming brawler. It's not until now with her 2 recent buffs on March 27 and this update, where Charlie requires 1 less hit for his super and hypercharge. Additionally, her rage increased back to around 9 tiles. So why isn't she used that much? Well, I think we just need to give some time to allow people to realize that she actually might not be good, especially with a 9 tile buff. If you enjoyed this video, go check out this video on the right side. Anyways, thanks for watching.